Hello and welcome to Keys and Decor, the podcast where we talk all things home, buying, decorating, and making your space feel like your sanctuary. I'm your host, Latoya Cooper, a realtor and former marketing professional who's passionate about helping you navigate the journey from house to home. All right, well, welcome back. Welcome back. So, listen, today we're going to talk about something really exciting, and that is the path to becoming a homeowner. All right, so maybe you've been dreaming about becoming a homeowner and you just don't know where to start. If you heard my last episode, you'll know that I can relate to that, to the not knowing what to do, where to start. So, if that's you, then you're in the right place because today I'm going to map it out for you. I'm going to give you 5 essential steps that will lead you to becoming a homeowner in the next year. Yes, 2025. We're about halfway through January at this point. So plenty of time for you to go ahead, make your plan, and become a homeowner this year. So go ahead and grab your notebook, maybe something to drink, something to sip on, and let's go ahead and map this out, all right? And these steps are good whether you're a first-time buyer or someone who's returning to the market. Maybe you're wanting to downsize, or maybe you want to upgrade, get a bigger home. Hey, let's go ahead and make it happen in 2025. All right, so step one. Step one is to assess your financial situation. You're buying a home. It's a big purchase, the biggest purchase you'll probably ever make in your lifetime. You want to know the state of your financial health, okay? That's essential. So so assessing your financial situation, it allows you to kind of have an idea of where you stand, okay? And the first thing that you can do, the most obvious thing, is to check your credit report. Check your credit score. Know what your credit score is. Generally, you need at least a 620 to qualify for a mortgage. But just keep in mind that the best rates, if you want a good rate, you need to have a higher credit score. All right, so 620 will get you in there, but it probably won't get you the rate that you'd like. So, and truthfully, you can sometimes, with the right lender, you might can get a mortgage with the score under 620, but you're definitely not going to have a great rate, and you're probably going to need a big down payment, and you'll probably have some explaining to do. Okay, so at a minimum, kind of 620 minimum, but always try to shoot for higher so that you can so you can get a good rate. All right. You can actually get your credit report once a year for free at annualcreditreport.com. Now, it won't tell you your credit score, but it will lay out your credit report and tell you everything that's on your credit, which gives you an opportunity to make sure that everything is right, that there are no mistakes or discrepancies. And if something isn't right, make sure that you go ahead and dispute it and have it removed from your credit report. You can get your credit report there free once every year. So maybe mark it in your calendar, set it up so that maybe the same time every year, maybe in January, you pull your credit report from there just to see what has changed. All right. Now, if you have a decent score, but you just need a little bit of improvement. Okay, it's not terrible. You don't have a lot of late payments, or you don't have any charge-offs, things like that. Then one thing you can do to improve your score is to pay down your balances. That always works, and make sure that you are making payments on time. All right. Another part of your financial health and assessing your financial situation is reviewing your savings. Buying a home, you're going to need money for your down payment. You're going to need money for your closing costs. And then that doesn't even factor in your moving expenses. There are things along the way that you may need money for, such as inspections. Sometimes those are paid at the time of inspection and not during closing, but it just depends. And also, if you're paying earnest money deposit or due diligence deposit, which we'll get into later. You have to have money for those things. Okay, so aim for, as far as your down payment goes for your mortgage, maybe 3 to 5%. It really depends. This is where being able to connect with a lender will be helpful. And depending on the type of loan that you're getting, you may not need a down payment at all. Maybe or maybe a smaller down payment. Because some do give you better options, and there are down payment assistance programs. So, but still, aim for maybe 3 to 5% down. But as a little tip, try to make sure that you are saving consistently anyway, because I know I've said it probably so far in every episode, but it's important to learn how to be a saver, because owning a home, you're responsible for everything that happens in your home when things suddenly stop working or things go wrong in the home, repairs need to be made. So make sure that you are in the habit of saving, so that you have an emergency fund for things like that, and that will help. And also, if you one thing that you can do, you can automate your savings. Sometimes your employer will allow you to have a certain portion of your check and deposit it into a separate account. Sometimes your direct deposit doesn't have to always go into the same account. So keep that in mind. And if you struggle with saving, then maybe try putting your savings account at a separate bank away from your checking account. So your savings is somewhere different where you don't have easy access to it. All right, that's something that I did early on, and it actually worked pretty good. And I still do it that way just because I'm just in the habit of it. And the savings account is not easy to get to. I don't have it linked to any of those apps like Cash App or PayPal or anything. So if I want money from that account, I have to get out and go to the bank or ATM, which isn't very convenient. And sometimes by the time I decide that, if I say that I want something and I'm going to go and maybe go get the money from there to get it, sometimes I'm just like, it's not even worth it, by the time I have to do all that. So just a little tip, a few tips to help you if you're struggling, if you're a saver who struggles, a future saver, I would say, someone who is trying to learn how to become a saver. All right. Okay, financial health. Also, calculate your debt to income ratio, because that's something that lenders use to determine how much you can afford. All right, so super important. So the formula for your DTI is you take your monthly debt payments. So hopefully you have a budget written out and you know how much you have to pay every month for every bill, everything that's going out. Okay, so you take your monthly debt payments and you divide it by your gross monthly income, and that will give you your DTI. Generally, you want to keep it below 43%. Okay, below 43%, and you probably won't have any problems getting a mortgage. All right. But once you have a clear picture of your finances, then you can start setting real goals. All right, and you get to the fun stuff, which is step number 2. Okay, step number 2: set clear home ownership goals. All right, so we're gonna, it's easy to wish and to hope, but when you actually make your home ownership goals into a plan, and especially when you write them out, it really makes a huge difference. All right, so we're going to make a solid plan today. So in setting your home ownership goals, all right, define your ideal home. Maybe spend some time thinking or even visualizing what you want or need in that home. Okay, what kind of home will fit your lifestyle? Are you looking for would you like a single family residence, one with a house with maybe a front yard and a backyard? Or maybe you're looking for a townhouse. We even have some really beautiful condos around here. What do you think about condo living? Would that fit your lifestyle? So just kind of think of that. As far as acreage, do you need a large yard, or are or no? Are you okay with the neighborhood where the homes are fairly close? Um, what type of yard do you want? And then, of course, you want to consider things like how many bedrooms and bathrooms do you need, and are you okay with two-story home or a three-story townhouse, or do you need a ranch-style home? Things like that. Just think about it and just kind of define what you need in your home, okay? And then consider your ideal location. Do you need to be within a certain proximity to work? Think about that work commute. Are you okay with a longer commute, or would you prefer to be closer? And also, if you have kids, or if you're planning to have kids in the near future, which you might have some time, but if you have kids, for sure, you might want to think about school systems. But you can definitely think ahead if you're thinking about having kids and you feel like, okay, this is going to be the forever home. Then yeah, consider what type of school systems are we wanting to be in, and making sure that you find a home that's in the school system that you want to be in. Are there any particular neighborhood amenities that you like? Like maybe you want to be close to a park so that you can walk and work out, or maybe it's nice to have a pool that's walking distance for the summertime. So just go crazy. All right, what is it that you need in a home and that you want in a home? And then you're going to prioritize those needs and wants. Now, the last episode was all about this topic, prioritizing must-haves and nice-to-haves, okay? So remember, your nice-haves are non-negotiable, those things that you absolutely need, such as you may absolutely need a home office if you work from home. Those nice-to-haves are things that you could be a little bit more like you don't need them, but they will just be really nice to have, okay? Like it may be really nice to have a home that has a nice big gourmet kitchen, but do you need that really? I mean, it's nice to have. So make sure that you are making a list and that you are placing those items that you want and need into the appropriate list so that you have a clear picture of what you need when you are looking for a home, okay? And of course, be flexible. Remember that you may not get everything that is on your wish list, but you will definitely be able to find a home that will meet your core needs, all right? All right, and truthfully, going ahead and setting these types of goals now will make it really easier to stay focused when you do actually start house hunting, okay? All right, so let's move on to step 3. You have assessed your financial situation. You have clear goals for what you want in a home. So the next step is to create a home buying budget and savings plan. All right, so let's basically you're going to figure out how you can afford what you need to get your new home, all right, your down payments and things like that. So you're going to set a realistic monthly savings goal. Now, realistic, that's going to be different for everyone. But break down your payment into monthly savings targets that make sense for you, okay? But let's say for someone who wants to save $10,000 between now and the end of the year, so that means you would need at least $833 a month, right? So is that realistic for you? To save $833 a month. And this is for your down payment. It may be for your deposits. It may be for the emergency fund that you just want to start saving. Maybe you don't need to save that much for an emergency fund, but maybe you can allot some of it to go towards your emergency fund. But all at once. I mean, you don't, $800 a month for an emergency fund. That's great if you can do that. But as far as and also saving for your closing costs, So there are some ways, let's talk about some ways that you can make extra money, okay? First of all, you can sometimes it's about just reduce maybe some of the things that you do that are not necessary or that you might can do without, such as ordering out so much. Instead of ordering out, maybe get to know your kitchen a little bit better and cook. Do something like that. If you have, look through your monthly subscriptions to like streaming services or anything really, and see how much are you actually using those. Because if you're actually not, or if you're, yeah, if you're actually not using them, or let's just say, like, I know for me, if it's a streaming service and they have ad ad free, or they have the where you can get it way cheaper if you want ads. Listen, we get in the ads if we're gonna have it. So there might be some room for some flexibility there. I mean, we all would love to be able to watch some of these services like Netflix without ads, but if it saves to have the plan with the ads, then hey, we have to plan with the ads. All right. So just reassess all your streaming services. Make sure that there isn't anything that you're not using, and reduce where you can. Not to mention, some of these streaming services, and I'm talking about streaming services, but there's other subscription services as well that you can kind of talk about, and other impulse buys. But I'm kind of the queen of the free trial, or the reduced rate. So there are some streaming services that at certain times of the year I like to have, because my shows come on a certain time of the year. And there's sometimes that, and so basically during the off seasons, I will generally cancel the service. And then by the time it's time for me to get it again, there's usually some type of deep discount I can get, or it's some kind of free trial that I can get. But I'm always I'm looking at different places to see where I can find a discount. And hey, maybe that's something that you can try as well. And sometimes even when the season comes in, I don't get the service until I know that I can actually sit down and watch the show. Like, I have to know that I have the time for this, because there's some shows that I'm way behind on, and that I haven't subscribed. Like, I'll just say Peacock is one. And I haven't seen the last season of Fresh Prince, but of Bel Air. I meant the new one, but I haven't had time to sit and watch it, so I just haven't gotten around. And that was like last summer, so I haven't subscribed yet. But at some point, hopefully, maybe I will have time when I'm ready, and I'll subscribe to it, and I'll have time to watch it. Okay, and hopefully, like if it's like a 3 months for something type of deal, which I don't think Peacock is very pricey anyway. But yeah, I'm gonna get the best deal possible. Okay. So just a tip. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to help you out here. All right. So the money that you save on their subscription services or streaming services or those impulse buys, direct all that money into your home savings fund. All right. Also, maybe you take on a side hustle, and that can be anything from like Uber Eats, you know, or do you have a creative talent? Maybe you can start making something. My daughter, she does a lot of knit work. She's not saving for anything, but it's a talent and something that can produce her money that she does make money from. Maybe you know how to make candles. There's so many different little things. If you have a hobby that maybe you can monetize it, or even if you just know how to do something and you want to teach someone else how to do it, that's good as well. That's a side hustle. See what you can do. And then if you have any unwanted items around your home, you'd be surprised sometimes. Maybe throw it on Facebook Marketplace, see if you can sell it. Take that extra money and put it towards your savings, all right? All right, so hopefully those will help. But also remember that, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, you may qualify for down payment assistance programs. So, make sure that you are, when you connect with your realtor or lender, that you discuss that to see what's available for you, okay? And another little thing is, like, if new construction is an option for you and it's something that you're looking into, sometimes you can save money on closing costs just by using their preferred lender. So when you have a realtor, your realtor will be able to tell you, because you do want to make sure that you have a realtor even when you are doing new construction, because you need somebody who's going to represent your best interest. So make sure that your realtor should be able to tell you what type of incentives there are from that particular builder. And so you may be able to save some money on closing costs. All right. But, basically the moral of the story is that a solid savings plan, it will save you time. It'll save you time because you'll be ready when you're ready to purchase. You'll be ready. But also, it just helps you to learn how to be a saver when you can save consistently to buy your home. That's great. Continue saving, okay, so that hopefully if you ever need money for something, you have it. All right. Let's move on to step number 4. All right. Step number 4, we're going to get pre-approved and we're going to find the right realtor. All right. So pre-approval is important because number 1, it shows the seller that you're important. I said important. No, you are important, but it doesn't show the seller that you're important. It shows the seller that you're serious, okay? It shows the seller that you are serious and that and that a financial institution will be financing your loan, all right? That you qualify for the loan. So, but not only that, but when you are getting pre-approved, it helps you to get a better understanding of your budget, because your mortgage payment does not include only principal and interest, but it also includes your property taxes and your homeowner's insurance. Those 4 things make up your mortgage payment. So when you get a pre-approval, you get a better idea, based on what you qualify for, of what the actual budget would be, how much, what's the price range of the houses that we need to kind of look into, all right? And then I want to talk a little bit about pre-qualification versus pre-approval, okay? Because they're a little bit different. It can be a bit confusing as to what difference is, but let me just go ahead and break it down. Okay, pre-qualification. The only time that I really would recommend, or that I recommend to customers or clients to get a pre-qualification, is when they have absolutely no clue what their credit is like. They have no clue All right, they're ready to buy a home. They're motivated, but they just don't have any clue. A pre-qualification, it allows the financial institution or the lender does a soft credit pull. At least my preferred lender does. It does a soft credit pull, which means that it doesn't affect your credit. And it just kind of gives them an idea of where you stand and whether or not you could be approved for a mortgage. But it's not written in stone because there are no checks or anything done. It's just they basically take what you tell them and decide whether or not you could qualify. So when it comes to making an offer, a pre-qualification really doesn't hold much weight. You're better off getting that pre-approval. For the pre-approval, the lender actually does a hard credit pull, and they verify all the information, whatever they need. If they need your check stubs, your tax returns, your bank statements, anything that they need, the hard credit pull, you gather all the documents that they need, and they actually verify everything, and they officially approve you and say, yes, we will finance this much for you. Okay, so whenever you're making an offer, at least in North Carolina, you have to have a pre-approval with your offer. Okay, it lets the seller know that you're serious and that you're able to afford that house. Okay, so that's the difference. Now, make sure that you're shopping around for lenders, and know that just because you get a pre-approval from one lender doesn't mean that you have to get your mortgage with that lender. You're free to shop around until you actually find the house, make the offer, and sign a dotted line on the on the paperwork with your financial institution, whatever lender you're using. You are free to shop around. And just remember that all pre-approvals have an expiration date, and so you're going to want to make sure that you're doing your shopping, before you don't, you want to make sure that that it doesn't, the one that you think that you might want doesn't expire while you're shopping for other rates. So still be mindful of the dates and things like that, and go ahead, and if you're serious about it, then go ahead and shop around. Don't wait. Go ahead and shop around. And it sometimes can help to have your your pre-approvals with you as you're shopping around, so that lenders know that, hey, I've been pre-approved. This is what I'm pre-approved for here. Can you beat that? Because sometimes they'll go the extra mile to try to beat it. So keep that in mind, all right? And of course, and if you need help with a lender and you don't know where to start, then go ahead and connect with the realtor first, all right? Go ahead and connect with the realtor first, because a realtor, they should have, resources and connections with lenders, relationships, so that you can, so that they can put you with someone who they know will be understanding and maybe will even help with credit counseling should you need that, so, but if you already know who you're going to be using for your lender, go ahead and get your pre-approval first, because you're going to need it either way. But then you also are going to want to find a good realtor who gets you, who understands your needs, and will patiently guide you through the process, all right? Someone who's resourceful and who is trustworthy. They're going to be with you a long way, all right? So let it be someone who will also help you to stay accountable, especially if you do have some work to do. Someone who's going to check on you, who's going to follow up with you, and who wants you to have it just as much as you do. Okay? All right, so once you're pre-approved, you have an agent. Hey, next stop, house hunting. All right, so this is where all of that preparation pays off, okay? All right, so you're going to start exploring different neighborhoods. Step 5. All right, I don't know if I said that. This is step 5. Start house hunting and prepare to make an offer. So you're going to explore different neighborhoods, different home styles. I'm telling you, when you start the process of house hunting, there are going to be a lot of things that you see that are like almost like wow moments. And you might not realize what you like and what you don't like until you actually get in the homes and you start to kind of see what's out there, So just keep that in mind. Just go and see what's out there, what's available. Maybe there's a particular home style that you have discovered that you really love. Maybe you discovered that, wow, I really like the Victorian styled homes. I love those columns. And I mean, hey, you never know what you like. So just start exploring, all right? Make sure that you are scheduling showings with your agent. Ideally, you would either be set up on a search so that homes that meet your criteria are emailed to you automatically, or sometimes, sometimes we'll actually search by hand. I know I like to search manually. I just do sometimes just look myself once a week and send things that I see that may fit if I have time, or sometimes if you have like very specific kind of needs, sometimes it's just better. So you'll either receive your homes through automated search or through your realtor just kind of sending you ones manually that he or she finds. And so then your realtor can help you schedule showings, but also you can visit and go to open houses and, do all the fun stuff. Just make sure if you go to open houses, of course, that you let your realtor know, but also let the realtor hosting the open house, know that you already have an agent. And now you can also do a lot of virtual tours. So, take advantage of virtual tours before you go, just so that you have an idea, especially when it comes to maybe something small that you don't like. Take advantage of the virtual tour just to kind of take a look at the floor plan and get an idea of what the home is like. And don't forget, before you go out and start looking at homes each day, look over that list, that priority list of your wants versus your needs. Make sure that you are sticking to what is a priority, okay? The priority, the absolute needs, non-negotiables are what we're focusing on, all right? All right, so keep your goals in mind, but stay flexible, of course. You never know, All right, so once you've found the house that you feel like is the one, and you'll know it, you'll feel it, then your realtor can help you craft a strong offer. And that offer is based on many things, okay? Based on market conditions. We'll be able to do a comparative market analysis and kind of help you to negotiate a price that makes sense, and that's a strong offer, because you may need to negotiate the price. Maybe there are repairs or updates need to be done. You never know. Sometimes you can negotiate certain things, and depending on the market, even maybe you can negotiate some of your closing costs. It's a lot of different things, and if you have a good realtor, they'll be able to tell you about all of the things that you can use to negotiate an offer. Now, there's a lot of different ways that you can negotiate, a lot of things that you can negotiate, but you have to see what makes sense for the individual property that you're looking at. All right, so from there, you kind of get ready for closing. You submit your offer. Hopefully, it's accepted, right? And then at that time, that's when you'll begin the process of having your inspection done, your appraisal done, finalizing your paperwork, and on to the closing table. And that part, from offer acceptance to the closing table, it can be, depending on your lender, it can be as little as 21 days. Sometimes it can be quicker, but more than likely, if you're financing, 21 days, or it can take up to 45 days, all right? So on average, about 30 days or so, all right? But after that, you'll get the keys to your new home. Yay! All right, so those are the five keys to obtaining home ownership in 2025. Now, before I end this episode, I want to talk about overcoming some of the common roadblocks on the journey to home ownership, all right? Because it's not always a smooth road, as with any journey. You could have credit challenges. So with credit challenges, that is tough, but you can get over credit challenges, okay? Just focus on steady improvements. That's the key. Work with a lender who offers credit counseling if possible, and who can give you direction on what type of things that you need to do in order to get your credit where it needs to be, all right? Another common roadblock are rising home prices. So just with that, is be prepared, and this goes back to our list of our must-haves and nice-to-haves. Just be prepared to adjust your expectations and maybe to be flexible in what is on your list. Okay, be flexible, and understand. Sometimes you may have to trade off certain things. But just be prepared to adjust your expectations. Be flexible, all right? But be open. It's okay. It's okay. And if you don't want to compromise at all, you just want to wait for what you want at the price that you want, it may not happen, but you can certainly wait and see, all right? So that is a thing. For instance, I know I have a customer, not a client yet, but he's been wanting houses that are in Cary that are new construction, single family residence at 550 or under. And that's just not going to happen here. That's just, it's not available in Cary. And so, he's choosing to wait. But I've been, talking to him about the possibility of looking outside of Cary. I mean, you can get a new construction in some of the smaller surrounding areas for that price, if a new construction is specifically what he wants, and a single family residence. But even with a townhouse, or if you wanted a townhouse, that's another compromise that he could make. And with a townhouse, new construction in Cary, you probably wouldn't be at 550, but you could definitely get one for maybe around 570 if you could adjust the budget a bit. So we're still trying to figure it out, but but staying flexible and understanding that sometimes if what you want isn't in your budget, then you got to kind of trade something off if it's what you really want. If you want to actually go ahead and become a homeowner and begin building that equity and begin contributing to your own future rather than someone else's. And another challenge also in the process is just staying motivated, because it's easy to just lose interest, especially when you have things that you're trying to work on. Maybe you're trying to save and you need to save for at least 6 months. Maybe that's what you've determined. And it's just such a long period of time that eventually you just kind of forget, and it begins feeling like it's so far, like it's just so have a support system. All right, everyone needs a support system. Now, not everyone deserves to be in that support system. Okay, not everyone's going to be supportive of you getting a home, you becoming a homeowner, for different reasons. So make sure that you're mindful of the people who you choose to be in that circle and to have a part of your thoughts and feelings behind the process. Make sure you choose people who are going to keep you motivated and inspired and not keep you discouraged. All right. So lean on your support system and revisit your goals on a regular basis. Write down your goals so you can revisit them. Remember, do not keep them in your head. Write them down. All right. Let's talk about staying mindful, because we know that the process can be stressful. All right. But mindfulness practices can help you stay grounded. Now, one mindful practice that I enjoy doing is visualization exercises. And so you can just kind of find a comfortable space where you can close your eyes, or just keep a soft gaze if you're not exactly comfortable with your eyes closed like that. And just visualize yourself, picture yourself in your future home. Picture yourself waking up and just going through your day, and just the little things. What are you wearing? What are you doing when you wake up, when you go to your kitchen? What does your kitchen look like? So try visualization exercises to help you to stay focused on your goals. And you can also use affirmations. To me, they're natural motivators, because when you repeat them on a regular basis, then your actions begin to line up with that affirmation, because you're beginning to, you don't even realize it, but you're actually beginning to believe that affirmation that you're feeding yourself. And so your actions will begin to align with it, so that you can achieve what it is that you're doing, because you believe in your heart of hearts that you can. All right. So a few affirmations, and I'll try to remember to put these in the description box, but one affirmation: each day I am closer to finding the perfect home for myself and my family. And same with the visualization. You can close your eyes and you can just focus on your breath, breathe in and out through your nose, and you can let these affirmations just be repeated internally as your breath is just flowing naturally, or you can repeat them out loud. Another affirmation: I am capable of achieving my goals. My dream home is waiting for me. My dream home is waiting for me. I am financially savvy. I am financially savvy. Okay, now. And one of my favorites: I am open and ready to receive. Thank you so much for tuning in. Listen, buying a home might seem overwhelming, but when you break it down into these 5 steps, you'll find that it's actually very much achievable. All right. So number 1, assess your finances. Number 2, set clear home ownership goals. Number 3, create a budget and savings plan. Number 4, get pre-approved and find the right realtor. And number 5, start house hunting and make an offer. So just start by taking one small step today, whether it be just assess your finances, maybe you create that budget, or maybe you go ahead and connect with a realtor who can guide you along the way. All right. But just make one little step today, because if you stay committed, you stay consistent to your plan, by this time next year, you could really be in your new home. All right. Celebrating, thinking about when you listened to that podcast and made that plan. All right. So go ahead, go ahead and decide what step are you going to make today. One small step. If you found this episode helpful, subscribe, share this with someone else who is thinking about starting their home buying journey, and leave a review. It helps the podcast to be seen in front of more people. All right. So leave a review if you have time. And if you're in the Triangle area of North Carolina and you're ready to take that next step, I'd love to connect for a consultation. My contact information is in the description. Until next time, stay mindful, stay inspired. Happy home hunting. Bye.